Coming to you live from the John Hammond Street in Ghana's capital, Accra. Good afternoon and welcome to Weekend Central Live here on TV3, also on DSTV channel 279, streaming across the world on Facebook at TV3 Ghana, where your thoughts and comments and welcome. My name is Godwin Asidiba.
And I am Judith Brown, coming up in the bulletin this afternoon.
And leading the bulletin this afternoon, burial rites for late Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation and MP for Tamale Central, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator Alhaji Lemuna Muniru Mohammed takes place today. We have details on that shortly.
Also this afternoon, President John Dramani Mahama calls on Ghanaians to renew their commitment to building a Ghana characterized by justice, opportunity, prosperity for all.
We begin the program from here. The burial rites for Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation and MP for Tamale Central, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, and Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator Alhaji Lemuna Muniru Mohammed, victims of the military helicopter crash, will take place this afternoon. In line with Islamic tradition, Janaza prayers will be held on Sunday, August 10 at 2 p.m. at the forecourt of the State House in Accra. This will be followed by burial at 2:30 p.m. at the military cemetery here in Accra. The helicopter crash on Wednesday, August 6, claimed the lives of Dr. Edward Omane Boama, Minister for Defense, and Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Alhaji Muniru Mohammed, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator, Samuel Abuaje, Deputy Director General of NADMO, and Samuel Sapong, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress. The helicopter crew members, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah also unfortunately lost their lives to the crash. Let's now cross over to my colleague Christian Yali, who is on the ground to bring us updates regarding this. Christian, if you can hear me, where exactly are you and what can you report at the moment? Hello, Christian Yali.
The State House. Yesterday, the evening of reflections and memorial for the deceased happened right here. Today, just another layer of it, which is the Islamic prayers, the Janaza, which is expected to be offered the deceased, the two Muslims who were among the 8 gallant men that we continue to mourn across the country and even beyond. And so right now we know that preparations are underway. Very soon, in just about some 30 minutes or so, the prayers for the two Muslims, i.e. Dr. Murtala Ibrahim Mohammed as well as Dr. Muniru Lumina, would happen here. And then after the prayers are done, we know per the arrangement that the burial itself would take place at the Bema Camp Military Cemetery for these two, in line with Islamic customs and traditions. What we know, even per what Islam says, ordinarily within 24 hours, these two should have been buried, but you know the exigencies of the time and how the situation has been so far. And so the understanding is that in such situations, the traditions and the customs allow for some period of time, though it shouldn't be too stretched. The understanding is that the president himself would be here this afternoon, as well as the vice, the Speaker of Parliament and other dignitaries who are going to join the Islamic prayers. And after that, all of them as well would be at the burial grounds, after which they would offer some brief remarks. But I have with me Mustafa Abubakar, who is the Deputy MD for the Tema Oil Refinery. He is actually one of the the members who are organizing this whole activity. We've seen already that there is a barricade here. People are beginning to troop in. What is the outlook like going forward into the prayers?
Well, thank you very much, and let me say good afternoon to all Ghanaians. Good afternoon to His Excellency, the President, and to the families of our lost heroes. We are here today to offer the Janaiza prayers of our Muslim brothers, the Honorable Murtala Muhammad and Alhaji Limuna Muniru, who were amongst the 8 people who unfortunately lost their lives during last Wednesday's incident. And so today you realize that as per the Islamic tradition, when one dies, immediately you would have to bury that person in accordance with Islamic rites. And so because of the DNA test and all of those things that will match the body, we had to wait for us to be able to get to match the body with what has been the samples that were taken. So today we are here to offer the Janaiza. Janaiza means that the last prayer to be said for a departed soul. And the National Chief Imam will be leading that prayer. And so we are destined to do the Janaiza prayer by 2 o'clock. His Excellency will be arriving. The National Chief Imam will be arriving as well, including the Speaker of Parliament and some senior officials of the party as well. And the prayers will be said exactly at 2 o'clock. We'll have to lay the 2 bodies together down here, where the remaining congregation will stand behind the Imam, that's the National Chief Imam.
So the bodies will be where we are standing right now, and then the congregation will be at the other side, just behind the barricade.
Sure. The bodies will just be in front of the Chief Imam. The Imam will stand behind, and then of course we'll have everybody stand behind the Imam. So we're going to have all walks of people come in here from across the country to, as it were, observe the prayer. The prayer is very important. It's one of the things that every Muslim who passes on will need for Allah to be able to forgive that person and then grant him Jannah. So that is the first part of it. And so once that is done, here there will not be speeches. All that we are coming to do is to observe the prayer, and the prayer is done in standing. There will not be, it's not like the normal prayer that we have where you would bow or you will do the sujood or in terms of prostrating. No, here you will stand, and then we will have to do 4 takbirats, that is in Islamic terms, and then we will recite the various dua or prayers in silence, and then we just call it a day.
Okay, so that is very well captured. We know that when we get to the burial grounds, and as it is in Islam, there is a particular positioning of the bodies, how you lay them, the kind of customs that take. Even before we get to there, give us a preview. How is that going to be done once we get to the cemetery, and how significant is it, the way you position them, and how is it done?
Well, for Honorable Murtala, there are 2 individuals we're talking about here. Murtala, we all know, is an MP, a minister as well. All of them are going to go through the Islamic tradition. But for Honorable Limuna, he is a sub-chief in this village. And so definitely once the casket is taken from here and sent to the burial site, there will be some traditional, rites that will be performed before we can lay down or put the casket into, the ground. Of course, we don't normally bury with the casket, but then because of the conditions in which we found our brothers in, it's something that the families have discussed as to how they want to go about it. And so once we leave here, we will go to the burial grounds. A few ceremonial rites will be said for Honorable Limuna, not Murtala per se, because of the chieftaincy role that he was enskined. So that will be done, just in a few minutes. And then, of course, the burial will take place, where the Imam of the Armed Forces will now take us through a bit of some sermon. And then, of course, the President will also make a short speech. And then the National Chief Imam will just, clamp it all with a prayer. And then we are good to go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So that is Mustafa Abubakar. He is one of the team members organizing this event. And what we know is that verily, and just like the Quran puts it, they belong to Allah, and to Allah they will return. But I just want to show you how this whole place is going to look like. So you have this side which has been barricaded, and just like Mustafa told you, the bodies would be laid together here in front of the Chief Imam, who is going to lead the prayers. And then after that, or even during that same process, we know that the congregation is going to be behind the barricade which has been mounted here, and so just to ensure that there is that clear division, and so you have all of this side in your shot where the congregants are going to be. The prayers are going to be said in standing, just like you heard it, and then once we get to the cemetery, the rest of the rites will be performed. And just like Mustafa told you, the understanding is that Alhaji Muniru is a sub-chief in his area, and so those rites would be performed before the burial, where we know that there will be that traditional enskinment of the late Alhaji Mohammed Muniru Limuna, and then all the rest would proceed. And so we are here just as it is. Once the program itself begins and the dignitaries begin to arrive, we shall be back to bring you all the update concerning this special occasion. What we also know is that later in the month, on the 15th of August, the interdenominational burial service would be held for the rest as well, amidst all the dignitaries who would be coming here to undertake or perform that function. Ghana continues to mourn. It is one that has never been seen before. Back to you in studios.
Thank you so much, Christian Yale, coming to us live from the forecourt of the State House. And we already know that President John Dramani Mahama will be in attendance together with the Vice President, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman. We also know that Alban Babing, Speaker of Parliament, is going to be there as well. And just as you've seen him give you that comprehensive report, we'll definitely have him stationed there to bring you up to speed with all the updates that will be unfolding from the forecourt.
Absolutely. And on to some more stories still on the tragic event, because President John Dramani Mahama has called on Ghanaians to renew their commitment to building a Ghana characterized by justice, opportunity and prosperity for all, following the tragic deaths of 8 people in a helicopter crash. He added that their memory should inspire Ghanaians to act with courage, innovation and shared purpose. The president made this known at the evening of reflection and memorial service for the 8 fallen individuals.
It was a solemn atmosphere at the forecourt of the State House. People from all walks of life and across the political divide, united by grief, came together to honor the legacy and memory of the 8 fallen heroes. The Chief of Staff and Minister in charge of government communication reflected on their dedication to service and sacrifice to the nation.
Fellow Ghanaians, these times remind me and remind us of the spirit of oneness, the spirit that we have shown and continue to show across divides. We have held hands, offered and shared prayers together, and encouraged one another.
These 8 individuals, through their dedication and unwavering commitment, exemplified the very essence of duty. They answered the call to serve, facing the inherent risks that come with safeguarding our national peace and progress.
Reflections also came from family, friends and colleagues.
I remember walking into his quaint living room at 4:30 a.m. in November 2015. And there he was marking pre-exam questions for his kids before they went to school, and he to the ministry. Omani's love for our country was only surpassed by his deep love for Rita, his dear wife, and Ekia, Ama, and Yao, his children and world.
He was a man whose life was a theater of action. He was a forgiving man. How could you not be forgiven when you have 24 siblings? He was a forgiving man because we saw it in the way he dealt with partners and opponents alike in politics.
Honorable Limuna was courageous, incorruptible, and above all, God-fearing. He was a leader who inspired so many people, not only within our family, but in the larger communities.
The Vice President, Professor Nana Junupokwajiman, noted this is a time for sober reflection.
They have served their nation and humanity well. How about us? This is definitely not a time for distasteful gloating over the misfortune, for postulation. This is not a time for apportioning blame. It is a time for sober reflection, of paying attention to detail and to facts. A time for ensuring that mishaps are avoided going forward.
President John Mahama urged Ghanaians to commit to healing and rebuilding.
I pray that the cherished memories of these our loved ones will serve as a guiding light, illuminating a path towards through the darkness and devastation of this national tragedy. Recently, in a similar tragic accident, a few days before, we lost 15 of our young citizens, members of a church singing band who had gone to perform at a youth program of their church. Similarly, on that occasion, I expressed my condolences to the bereaved family and placed a personal call to Openyin Abraham, who is the head of the Savior Church in Ghana, to whom these young people belonged. It is at times like this, however, that the true spirit of us as Ghanaians reveal itself. We showcase the profound compassion that we have, our inherent decency, our indomitable resilience, and our deep-seated unity that have come to define our nation, Ghana.
With the 3-day official mourning period ending, the president said the moment of sorrow should unite Ghanaians in building a stronger Ghana.
Some faith leaders have urged Ghanaians to strengthen their faith and belief in God in moments of tragedy. They spoke at the evening of reflection and memorial service for the fallen 8 who died in a helicopter crash on Wednesday.
God is alive. God is with us. God knows.
How do we strengthen our faith in moments like this?
We have to trust in God, and we have to believe that God is a good God. God knows everything. He knows more than we know. So we can only trust in God at such times.
We cannot explain God. We cannot explain the accident. There's time for everything. Only God understands why He allows certain things to happen. And that is why I kept saying that in a time like this, we should be very circumspect and sensitive about even our commentary. Families are grieving. People are in pain. Loved ones have lost their dear breadwinners. So we should be sensitive with even the way we conclude. The Bible says we see in parts and we know in parts and we prophesy in parts. We can not be all-knowing. I am saying that no politicians, no spiritual leader, no commentator should take advantage of this because only God can explain it. But as painful as it is, we pray that the souls of these 8 gallant men rest in perfect peace. We all know they were going to work on Galamsey, they were going to work on the abuse of our gold, they were going to work on the abuse of our water bodies. And remember, we should all, in all uncertainty, condemn Galamsey. Galamsey is a shame to our nation, and we must all bury our heads in shame that we sat down to go through this path.
Now, some prominent Ghanaians at the evening of the reflection and memorial service for the 8 individuals who died in the helicopter crash say the best way to honor the legacy of the fallen 8 is to end the fight against illegal mining.
That you even had to cancel your 50th anniversary. How are you coping with this loss yourself?
Well, as you said, this is a time of mourning, and as was also said by one of the tributes, there is the night which comes with the morning, but we pray that there will be a season of rejoicing as well. But this is really a deep wound, a deep shock for all of us, and it's beyond words. So we can only console the spouses, the families of the deceased. This must be harder on them than on any of us. And we pray that they may help us to heal, as the president said.
What's the best way to honor their legacy?
The nation must make sure they didn't die in vain.
The best way is to honor them by doing exactly what they were on their way to do when they faced this tragedy. They were going to launch a new initiative, what they call responsible mining, so we can clean the environment to ensure the long-term sustainability of our country. And unfortunately, they ended their lives. So for me, the best way to honor them is for the president, and I'm sure he will, reignite the passion of all of us towards eliminating or managing in a more responsible way the problem of galamsey.
It's a heavy loss. I've used every coping skill I know, but still can't overcome it. I have personal relations with some of them. Dr. Omane Boama is my senior from Pope John, my senior in medical school, and one I related very well with. Osha, I can't imagine what has happened. The question on my mind, at what point was there cessation of life? Did they have to burn, or what happened? May the good Lord receive their souls. And as a nation, let's come together. It's a difficult time.
It really hit me hard. It's very unfortunate. These are very young people, very hard-working and dedicated people who have, put themselves forward to serve our country. And so it's a big loss to us as a country. The best way to honor their legacy is to continue the fight they started. It's a fight for saving our nation from all the wreckage and the destruction from galamsey and all of that.
For Ghana to lose such numbers of people at one day, it's really something that, in fact, we have to reflect on these things and see how we can move Ghana forward, looking at the death of the prominent people who were resetting Ghana and had the agenda of getting Ghana to a stage His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama once said.
The Ghana Armed Forces has described the late squadron leader Peter Bafemi Anala as an irreplaceable loss to the service and the nation following the August 6 military helicopter crash that claimed his life alongside 7 others, including 2 cabinet ministers. Commodore Matthias Owa delivered a tribute on behalf of the Ghana Armed Forces at the evening of reflection and memorial.
Followed by the National Security Coordinator, who would be on standby. Once again, we will take remarks from Air Commodore Matthias Ewa on behalf of the Ghana Armed Forces, and the National Security Coordinator will be on standby to deliver his remarks for the National Security Council Secretariat.
His Excellency of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, I stand on the already established existing protocol. Tribute by the Ghana Armed Forces to the late squadron leader, Peter Bafemi Anala, GH 4281. With deep sorrow and heavy hearts, the Ghana Armed Forces pays tribute to squadron leader Peter Bafemi Anala, a gallant officer and distinguished pilot who tragically lost his life in a helicopter crash on 6 August 2025. His sudden departure is an irreplaceable loss to the service, the Ghana Armed Forces, and the nation as a whole. He was commissioned into the operations branch on 17th October 2014. Squadron leader Anala exemplified exceptional skill, discipline, and dedication. His professional achievements were underpinned by rigorous training, both locally and abroad. These included the private pilot rotor license, instrument rating, and commercial pilot rotor helicopter license from Florida in the United States of America. He held a Master of Science in Air Transportation and Aviation from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He had certificates in digital and technological challenges in the maritime sector, certificates in fundamentals of accident investigations, applied aircraft investigation, safety and accident investigation from the Cranfield University from the United Kingdom. Beyond his technical competence, he was a husband, father, mentor, and a man of deep faith, whose leadership inspired young officers. Rest in peace, Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala. Your duty is done. Your legacy endures forever. Next, late Flying Officer Manain Chum Ampedu, GH 5426. With solemn reverence and heavy hearts, the Ghana Armed Forces pays tribute to Flying Officer Manain Chum Ampedu, a brilliant and promising young officer.
And still on the tragic incident, Education Minister and Member of Parliament for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, paid a glowing tribute to his departed colleagues after laying his flowers on Saturday afternoon.
Allah knows best. We trust that Honorable Mutala, Dr. Mutala, and Alhaji Limuna Muniru will rest in Jannatul Firdaus. They were all faithful, practicing Muslims who upheld their Muslim values at all times. Dr. Omani Buama proved he was worthy a strategist in mobilization, in policy formulation, and in policy execution. He spoke less. In fact, he did not want to serve this time round, even as Minister of State. It was not his desire. I met with him and his wife, Rita, and he said, Harun, I may not take up an appointment this time. I'm sure it's on the basis of the present trust and faith in his person and what he could offer him that he got him convinced to become his Minister for Defense. May the soul of the heavenly departed and that of our colleagues rest in perfect peace. Samuel Sapong was a mobilizer for the NDC. Quite determined in his mobilization for the party. To the Air Force officers, you can't even describe it as hazard of their job, but it is. No pilot will fly to die. Let us accept this as the hand of God and a natural event.
Deputy Education Minister and Bulsa South Member of Parliament, Dr. Apakabas Clement, was also there.
It's a very difficult moment. It has taken me this long to come and pay my respects to our gallant eight and my 5 fellow John Dramani Mahama appointees, because I simply couldn't muster the courage. But in their honor, I had to brave it. This is perhaps the most tragic experience any government in the history of the Republic has had to endure. It is a loss to the nation, a loss to our humanity, a loss to our party, and a loss to our government. I can only imagine what His Excellency the President has to go through, that at just one swoop, in a twinkling of an eye, 5 of his appointees, including 2 sitting cabinet ministers and 2 former ministers, have just evaporated, gone with the wind. But as we mourn and grieve, This should be a situation that should spur us on to intensify the fight and to say the original cause for this accident, which is Galamsey, must come to an end. That is the best way we can remember our fallen aides, our gallant aides, because they died in the line of duty, in service to nation, in service to our humanity, as part of the effort to bring an end to the pollution of our water bodies and the destruction of our environment. So even as we look at the probe and to find out what caused this, we cannot forget that if not for Galamsey, there wouldn't have been the need for them to embark on this rather fatal journey of no return. Part of the legacy should be for us to bring an end to Galamsey. Right. That is the best way we can remember our comrades and our compatriots.
We'll say on this, and retired Air Force Officer Wing Commander Patrick Nelson Sombojo spoke with Godwin Asiriba after laying his flowers in front of the Jubilee House on Saturday afternoon.
I received and I viewed it as an accident, which is not uncommon. It happens, it's a machine flying, anything could have happened. We'll have to wait for the Board of Inquiry to let us know what the black box or the voice recorder is doing, or what you see or coming down. Unfortunately, the two pilots died, so they can't give us what had happened to them, whether they experienced an emergency and they're trying to find somewhere to land or not. But of course, in a forested area, helicopter drops. You know, if there's a small village with a school park or their background, a helicopter can force to land there. But trees here are high, but I don't think we have any tree in this country which is taller than, let's say, 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet. Black boxes cannot be opened except by the manufacturer of the aircraft. So this black box will either be sent to China or they send a delegation, to come and inspect. It's not something that as soon as you open, then everything is there. With their instruments, they have to come on the code what it says. So Ghanaians should be patient. It may go past 2-3 weeks to a month to unraveling what happened at black box. It's not automatic that the voice recorder, you may be able to do it, but that was only voice between the two pilots and the control tower. So it's not automatic. We need patience.
Regional leaders in the Bono East region have made an urgent appeal for national unity and a collective commitment to end illegal mining in honor of the 8 who unfortunately lost their lives. They made this call during a solemn vigil held in honor of the 8 individuals who tragically died.
The vigil was organized to pay respect to the 8 fallen heroes who perished in a helicopter crash while on a mission to combat Galamsey. Speaking to TV3 News, the NDC chairman of the Council of Elders, Lawyer Opukwajiman, urged the government to honor the memory of the deceased by bringing Galamsey activities to a swift and permanent closure. He drew a powerful parallel to the tragic death of Major Maxwell Mahama, who was lynched in 2017 while on an anti-Galamsey operation.
Major Mahama died in the battle against Galamsey, and just last Wednesday, 8 people also died in the fight against Galamsey. People have said that Galamsey is an existential threat. The only thing we can do as a nation to honor these gentlemen is to uproot Galamsey.
Meanwhile, the regional minister noted the remarkable strides made by government, emphasizing the need for national unity to continue the fight.
Yes, they've done their part. So it has become a process now because they couldn't complete the cycle. So it is our duty, our collective responsibility. In their absence, what are we going to do as a nation? It means that we have to also sacrifice our life to bring ideas, to bring strategies together so that we can support the cause of the government to bring Galamsey activities to a closure.
The CEO of Gratis Foundation expressed profound sadness over the loss, highlighting the potential of young lives that were cut short.
These were upcoming strong politicians, and you see, we call something organizational history or something like that. So as the elderly exit, who are those that we are taking to the place? And I think they were the finest gentlemen that going forward, some of them could become prominent persons in this country. But look at what has happened. However, we have nothing because God knows best.
The vigil served as a poignant platform for leaders to transform grief into renewed call for action. The unified message is that the fight against Galamsey is not just a government's responsibility, but national duty, and that the ultimate honor for the fallen will be a Ghana free from the devastating effects of illegal mining.
You're still tuning to Weekend Central Live here on TV3, where we continue to mourn and honor the 8th here on the bulletin. We are going for a very first break. We'll be back shortly. My name is Gordon Nsideba.
And I am Judith Brown.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital,
from the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom,
reporting from Sunyani,
from the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds, the moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
To the Bono East region, where health officials are urging residents to remain vigilant against Mpox after a new case was recently reported. While the region has recorded a total of 25 suspected cases, 4 have been confirmed, and a new sample is awaiting lab results.
Latest report from the Regional Health Directorate confirms 4 cases, with the 5th sample currently being tested, bringing the total number of suspected cases in the region to 25. According to Bono East Regional Health Director, community education on symptoms and preventive measures has been crucial in keeping case numbers low. While the region has yet to report any deaths from the disease, health officials are concerned about the growing trend of people with symptoms staying home rather than reporting to a health facility.
We have 4 cases of Mpox already recorded. Thankfully, they have all recovered. But we continue to see cases. We have detected 25 cases. Just 2 days ago, a new case was reported. We have sent the sample to the lab, awaiting the results. So the community should know that Mpox is with us. The fact that we are not seeing the large numbers is because of the community education on the symptoms and the preventive measures. People are now more aware that when someone has the lesions, the blisters on the skin, feverishness, they should stay away, and it's helping. But the challenge now is when you see the lesions, do not stay at home. Report to the nearest health facility.
She emphasized the importance of early supportive care, which plays a vital role for a safe recovery.
There is no treatment to cure it, but then we can provide supportive care early to ensure that you are safe.
She further urged residents to cooperate with the public health response team when instructed to self-isolate.
So people should cooperate with the public health team, the public health response team. Cooperate with them when you are told to stay at home and isolate. They should listen to us so that we can continue to control. We don't want to see new cases of Mpox in the region.
The public is encouraged to report any signs of the disease to the nearest health facility immediately.
And now we're going to bring you the latest cases that have been recorded in terms of Mpox as at 7th August 2025. And by then, 80 new cases have been recorded, bringing the total number of cases to 346. Mpox spreads mainly through close contact with someone who has the infection. And to prevent Mpox, you have to avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of Mpox. Wash hands regularly with soap under running water. Wear a mask if caring for someone who is sick. Avoid contact with animals that could carry the virus, and then seek medical attention if you notice symptoms like rash, fever, or swollen lymph nodes.
The National Health Insurance Authority, NHIA, is calling on healthcare providers to maintain high professional standards to ensure the smooth operation of the National Health Insurance Scheme. This follows a mid-year performance review by the NHIA's Bono Regional Office, which highlighted both progress and challenges in membership enrollment and claims payment. Claude Kumi Abisa reports.
The National Health Insurance Scheme has been a cornerstone of Ghana's healthcare system since its inception in 2003. Designed to ensure equitable access to financial protection for essential health services, the NHIS aims to provide comprehensive coverage for all Ghanaian citizens. However, in an exclusive interview with TV3 in Sunyani, the Bono Regional Director of the National Health Insurance Authority, Isaac Bedu Amponsa, raises concerns over reports of illegal charges by some healthcare facilities in the region despite claims payment by government.
In fact, we are not pleased with this kind of menace that is going on. Most of the complaints that were coming from our service providers were with regard to late payment of claims. And as of now, we have paid 7 months claims for this year, up to April and June, July. So I don't see why our facilities should be charging our members who are vulnerable, and as at the time they are visiting the hospital, probably they don't have any money with them, and then they will go and then you charge them exorbitant amount of money. I don't think it's right. So we want them to stop this. If they stop, there's no way we want to do anything bad to to affect anybody's work.
Moreover, he urged NHIS members to report illegal charges to the NHI for due recovery.
And we urge everyone, anyone who goes to the hospital and is being charged these fees and charges should come to us. That's why we have our district offices. If you meet any health insurance authority staff wearing our cloth, approach that person. If you can't even go to our office, you can complain to them and they will address the issues for you.
The NHIA Bono Regional Office recently held its 2025 mid-year performance review meeting, assessing key indicators like membership coverage, claims processing, and operational hurdles. Mr. Amponsan revealed that the region is on track to meet its target of 1,088,781 active members by 2025.
As at the end of June 2025, the Bono region was able to achieve 843,129, representing 77.3% of the target. In terms of universal health coverage, the Bono region has achieved 63% of the total population of 1,301,583. Compared to the same time last year, the 2025 mid-year UHC recorded a shortfall of 5%. With the third quarter being our peak performance period, I would like to urge my hard-working district managers to note this shortfall and step up their effort to ensure we achieve the set target for the annual.
Continue to stay interactive with us across all social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. More on health right after the break. Stay with us.
Warning to health institutions that promote formula products over breastfeeding. The service says it will take decisive action against any facility undermining efforts to encourage exclusive breastfeeding.
Calls are growing for the government to create breastfeeding-friendly environments in workplaces and public institutions. Advocates are also pushing for an extension of maternity leave from the current 3 months to 6 months to allow mothers more time to exclusively breastfeed their infants. Director of the Family Health Division at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Kennedy Brighton, cited alarming statistics showing that the Greater Accra region has the lowest rate of infants breastfeeding in the country, with just 42%. At the launch of World Breastfeeding Week, the Ghana Health Service emphasized the importance of prioritizing breastfeeding as a key strategy.
Formula promotion in our health facilities, Ghana Health Service facilities, is a crime. It is wrong, and when we will come after you, and when we grab you, we will subject you to the requisite discipline. We are not saying that it is wrong to use the infant formula in Ghana. That's not what we are saying. We are saying that let the first 6 months be exclusively devoted to the baby, where the baby will benefit from all the ingredients that are necessary for proper development. Brain growth, bone growth, muscle growth, intelligence. It all depends on the breast milk.
Nutrition Manager at UNICEF Ghana, Dr. Annette Imohi, expressed concern over cultural norms, limited knowledge and skills, and the lack of support systems, all of which discourage mothers from practicing exclusive breastfeeding.
Breastfeeding is the first vaccine for the child because breast milk contains a lot of antibodies that prevent sickness or illness. So a child that's not exclusively breastfed is more likely to suffer from common ailments compared to a breastfed and exclusively breastfed child. A key challenge to breastfeeding is the introduction of water in addition to breast milk. At that age, the child has a very small stomach, so within that little feed they can eat, they need to get all the calories that they need to get. So you're literally displacing nutrition for the child by giving them water.
Mothers are therefore strongly encouraged to breastfeed their babies to give them the best start in life.
They were meant to be children, yet forced to be mothers. Teenage pregnancy remains a pressing issue with serious health and emotional consequences for girls who are forced to grow up overnight. We take you inside the full extent of the medical challenges these girls face and the urgent call for an action.
They are barely old enough to understand their own bodies, yet they are forced to navigate pregnancy, childbirth, and in some cases, death. Teenage pregnancy remains a troubling reality in Ghana, and behind the rising numbers lie painful health consequences that often go untold.
When a teen gets pregnant, the teen is able to develop high blood pressure, and this sometimes causes a lot of effects or causes some kind of issues with them. These can sometimes lead to preeclampsia at the early stage of these young ones. So it gives them a lot of complications as young as they are.
Data from the 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey reveal that approximately 1 in 10 adolescents aged 15 to 19 have given birth to at least one child. Experts say the female reproductive system at that age is still developing, making pregnancy and childbirth not just difficult, but dangerous.
Young ones who get pregnant within their teen age are more prone to become anemic. And when they are anemic, it has an effect on their ability to carry kids to term, where they will have to transfuse them and all that. There's little parental control that they are able to offer since they are pregnant at that stage. A child taking care of a child, so this affects the child sociologically. Teens who are pregnant sometimes do try to reject even the children because mentally they are not well fit.
Health advocates are calling for cultural taboos that prevent teens from seeking help.
We need to be able to look at a good system where reproductive health education needs to be increased in schools or in our communities. Parents, families need to be able to wake up to the core where they can have frank discussions with their children on reproductive health to be able to help curb teenage pregnancy. We should be able to have systems where young ones can talk to trusted parents, trusted adults. Now, when the young ones are able to talk to trusted adults, not just only for men, not only for the girls, but also for boys also.
Early pregnancy is not just a social concern, it's a public health emergency, and until we confront the silence and give young people the information and care they deserve, too many girls will continue to suffer avoidable consequences. Safa Boyne, TV3 News, Accra.
And that's how we end the news this afternoon, but we'll continue with the coverage at the State House, where my colleague Christian Yali is stationed to bring you up to speed with all the happenings there regarding the 2 Muslims who will be buried today, and my colleague Judith Brown, together with others, will also be here in studio to run you through all of that. We know that this afternoon, Yagbon Ra and Ndaniana will be present, the National Chief Imam as well, leader of the Mbaria Sunni group, the families of the late Honorable Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Mutala and Haji Muniru. Lumina Mohammed will also be there as well. I will also quickly move from here to the cemetery, where we'll all be stationed at a vantage point to bring you up to speed with all that will be happening this afternoon. My name is Godwin Asidiba.
And I am Judith Brown. Do stay tuned to TV3.